Everybody, welcome back to Mystics MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven, and we have a announcement that took place 2 days ago, I want to say, from Matt Fire and Rich Lambert for ESO about their itinerary. I'm going to go over this and give you guys my thoughts. Once again, we have the lovely Gina and Jessica here asking questions. These two ladies do an amazing job for ESO community managers. They're wonderful. So let's get into it and then we'll break it down and what my thoughts are.
Jess was saying this isn't the only thing that we're working on, and we have improvements to some quality of life features and also to the activity finder, and this is something that we tested in this current PTS site.
Now for most,
it's always this is the best community show of the year, so
yeah,
I love coming here every year. User, it's more when you're in a
to defrag it. It's
okay.
etc.
so
Isn't the only thing that we're working on.
Okay.
And
So first off, let me get back to this real quick. For most people, they weren't aware that the activity finder or the looking for group tool has been having issues. It's had issues for quite some time. But when there's a heavy load on the servers requesting the queue, there has been some glitches, to say the least. And this is what they're referring to.
we have improvements to some quality of life features and also to the activity finder, and this is something that we tested in this current PTS cycle with some players. We turned on some new code that we have for matching players up in dungeons.
Yep.
So how is all of that work going, and what can players sort of expect from it? When are we thinking that's going to be coming out, et cetera, et cetera?
so LFG in particular is something that we basically rewrote from the ground up.
That means looking for
So,
code or looking
there
for
were
group
lots of issues
LFG.
with it, especially under load. The team went back, reworked that entire system. We, like you said, we did the test on PTS. It uncovered a few things. We're still working on that stuff.
Okay.
And it will go
Really quick. So here's the itinerary. We have a Q4 2019. That's going to be coming up. Memory management overhaul. Behind the scenes combat ability improvement. Stage 1. Complete rewrite of the looking for group system in Q1 of next year, which will be update 25. They're going to be doing patching overhaul, faster loading, art fixtures, and characters. That has to do with resolution, when the server's resolving the pixels and the graphics. Behind the scenes combat ability improvements. That should be basically how the combat abilities work under server stress, basically. Hopefully if they do this, if they optimize this, they can also try to re-implement the syncing, the system, how it syncs with abilities, because once again, remember, they desynced a lot of abilities. So when an ability is played by another player in a dungeon, you can't see the abilities graphics because it's been desynced. If they overhaul this and they optimize it, hopefully they can resync some of these abilities. I'm not going to assume that this is going to be the case. I'm just saying, depending on how well it gets optimized, it could be potentially, available where you can see other people's abilities being laid down. Of course, because everybody plays the same amount of abilities in trials, that could be problematic as well. Frame rate improvements. Stage 1, server optimization and stability. That's the biggest concern. Update 26, account database cold storage. This should be based on what data is not really prominent or usable anymore. Basically, it's just, relogging, discontinuing old code and getting everything back up to what's being utilized consistently, or to reduce that much data. Frame rate improvement stage 2, which is good because latency has been The ping and latency is terrible. It's not necessarily the frames that's the problem, it's the latency. You can have a high-end framework, but what ends up happening if latency, which is the connectivity between your device to the IP, that can sometimes affect frame rates, but if latency is at a high, you can have a high-end high frames per second, but if latency is high, you want latency low. Your ping low, frames high. So if the ping is high, it could affect frame rates, but once again, it's all about, that connection to the server. Despite connectivity, connectivity does have some bearing on that. Additional bug fixes and updates. Okay, so let's continue.
Ideally up in update 24, which is Dragonhold. And then that kind of leads into the other big thing that we're working on a lot, and we don't talk about, but is performance. And this is something that the community has talked to a lot.
And I do want to stress that is a problem. If you don't communicate, it's going to antagonize more people. So once again, communication is key. Okay, but at least they're bringing this to our attention now. They are, making these announcements, which is good. It's great. It's good shit. Okay.
Said, hey, you guys don't do anything. You're ignoring us. No, we're not. We're working on things. A lot of the things we're working on, though, are very, very long polls. And so you can see some of the things that we're working on. Memory management is a big thing. And one of the things we're working on with that is kind of how we allocate memory and how we, free it and request it. And right now, one of the big issues we have is just how it gets fragmented. So like a hard drive, you copy a whole bunch of things all over the place on the hard drive. The old hard drive's got fragmented and you have to defrag it. We're working on a system to clean that up and make it better. So you're going to see a major improvement in terms of stability. Less crashing, less dashboarding if you're on console. You'll see
especially on lower spec machines.
Oh, yeah.
Like the base PS4 and the base Xbox One.
Yep.
That'll have a big quality of life improvement just with that change alone.
And you should see some performance improvements with that as well. And then on top of that, we're looking at abilities and looking at their impact on the server, how they work, optimizing those. We talked about the LFG system.
Now, the behind-the-scenes compatibility improvements, that's completely different from the ability audits that we've already been working on.
Yeah, this is more looking at the abilities from a server performance and client performance side of things rather than do these numbers math out correctly.
Yeah. To the user, it's more when you're in a situation where there's lots of combat going on in PvP or in trials, the server gets under load way too much. This is
Now, this is some of the effects that we see when they're talking about this. Let me translate what is going on here. When these effects are occurring, that's when you see the problem with bar swapping, abilities not firing off when you're casting them. Also misfired abilities. This is what is occurring when they're talking about this. This is what we're seeing. So what's this? What they're talking about, that's what this relates to. Okay.
kind of one of our first step. So there's version 2 coming up later.
Later on.
So this is the first thing to take care of some server optimizations to make sure in combat that the server isn't too much under load and stuttering.
Yeah, and so some team members are working on those things, but others are also working on Q1's next year's updates. The patching overhaul is kind of the biggest one that we're actively working on, have been for quite a long time. And this touches pretty much every file in the game.
Wow.
Yes, it's a big update, and what we're doing is we're going through and we're looking for duplicate assets, old assets that are no longer needed now that we do things better and smarter. We're removing a lot of that, so that'll free up a ton of space on your hard drives.
Especially console.
Yeah, especially console.
Now, I do like this idea. I'm just going to state this because currently Elder Scrolls is like hundreds of megabytes. I mean, it's the largest file on my PS4 and my Xbox. So by doing this, it's going to free up. I mean, are we going to have to really, download the entire game. Yes. Is it worth it? Abso-flipping-lutely. It's going to free up a lot of space on your machines across all platforms. So yes, yes, and yes.
That will also reduce the overall sizes of patches going forward once we do this. It does mean that when we do push this out to live, everybody's going to have to re-download the game while it repatches everything and gets it to the new system.
But it's for the greater good.
Yeah, once that happens, patching should be a lot more streamlined and faster.
And loading into the game and loading into new areas will be greatly improved after this.
Yeah, and that's another part of this. We're taking the opportunity while we have to touch all the assets anyway to update our libraries, our compression libraries. And that's going to, like Matt said, significantly reduce load times. It's going to make things load a little bit faster, less player, those black silhouettes that you see everywhere on, in high traffic.
So once again, let me kind of integrate here. There's a lot of data that is no longer relevant when we're in ESO, right? If they make any changes, it's usually data compiled on top of old data overwriting that code, which is no longer relevant. So by actually what they're doing and what they're stating is we're going to remove the code that is no longer relevant. So basically anything that does no longer needs to be there is going to get compressed. It's going to get removed, and all the new data is going to be compressed to be more optimization for the server processing to occur. That's what's happening, and thank you. Moving on.
Traffic situations, a lot of those are going to go away now because things will load faster.
Roll call at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're going to be releasing, I think, this week, a post next week. Well, this week.
Oh, yeah.
This next
I guess
week coming
technically
up.
it'll be.
Sometime in the next 7 days, we will be releasing a update on the website, which goes into this in a lot more detail and kind of who the fixes are targeted at and the expected user results. So, we're taking this performance thing seriously, but when you dip into the guts of the game that's been running for 5 years, it's been in development for 12. We got to be really careful how we do it in places. So
now I'm also going to agree with Matt on this because there's a lot of files, or most people call them files, but directories in which you have to understand that when you're going into a game, when you play one aspect of a game, it could open up another directory file. So when they're going in and they're having to shift things around, that's what he's saying. We have to be very careful how we're proceeding and moving forward. Why? Because they can't make a mistake when, compressing these files. Right? If you mess up and something gets deleted that shouldn't have been deleted, that entire file, now they're going to do a backup. So let me reassure everybody, before they put anything out live, more than likely they're going to do a backup prior to the compression. What this will allow them to do is compress that file or reintegrate the directory. When this occurs, then they're going to be able to say, okay, this code is no longer being processed. We can remove this code, restart up that specific encounter, make sure the code is resolving correctly. If everything is looking good, then all of a sudden it's been compressed properly. And then they can go ahead and save it and reallocate that to the new file download. So this is what's good. This is good shit. So everything that they're talking, I wish they would have gotten a little bit more on the technical aspects instead of trying to make it in more of a layman's. I mean, I understand, but at least when I'm hearing it, I'm sounding more than happy with everything that they're addressing, because this is everything that is the current issue in ESO.
But this is, we've been working on a lot of these for months and months now, but we're more and more confident that they'll start to hit at the dates that we told them.
Yeah, and
told you.
when that article goes live, we'll also update that regularly. I think we're going to try for at least once a month, and just give you a status update of kind of where we're going and what we're doing. And as we uncover new things, some stuff may change, but that's, what you saw there is what we're working on and what we think is going to dramatically impact performance of the game.
And when you say performance, what does that mean? Because we'll see a lot of people say, like, this is laggy, which can mean a lot of different things. So when you're talking about improving performance, what does that mean for everybody?
It's a bunch of different things, but it's frame rate, it's server responsiveness, it's being disconnected and the client crashing in some cases, it's load times, it's all of those things.
It's all of those things. Anything
it's
that
looking
has
for group not working under load. It's everyone will be glad to know we are burning that system to the ground and rewrote it completely.
Yes.
So,
Thank God. And hopefully, as far as memory buffer goes, that's something I'm hoping that is getting attention as well when they're going into this. So after they compress these files, seeing how the memory buffer, works, especially with connectivity and bandwidth. And when we start seeing, all this memory being utilized, how it buffers out, it's going to be very important. So hopefully this is something that's going to be, closely monitored as well, I would imagine.
that will be, it'll be much better.
That's exciting. Can't wait to start getting some of that out.
Yeah.
So Q4 this year is kind of the
It's
beginnings
the
of that.
first of many, yes.
Yeah.
And again, like Matt and Rich said, that graphic that you guys saw, that'll be going up on the website sometime next week with a full article kind of detailing all of those things.
Yep, and the timeline graphic will have a social asset push for that as well every month. So you'll
Even
see a
if
new
the
updated
update
version.
is just, we're still working on this, just to kind of let you guys
Yeah.
in on how everything is going.
Yep,
That may be a few of them. Yep, we're still working on it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
but we're
no.
committed to doing a monthly update, even if it's that. So I think we have just a few more minutes, so
Okay, that's pretty much about it. It did feel like it was very, cold. Like, that room was kind of like, they were kind of like on pins and needles when they were, addressing these issues versus some of the other, announcements. I feel Rich is always very well composed. Matt is definitely, him being here on this stage is an important reflection of the commitment being made, right? So a lot of times you don't get to see Matt really talk on ESO Live or talk during the chapter release. He does the introduction, but here you see him. You see Matt right here beside Rich, and I think that's the reassurance that yes, we are committing to this. Yes, we want a few more years out of this product. We are working on a new ISP, but we don't want to leave our consumers behind. And hopefully moving forward, we get another 10, 15 years out of this. Because you got to keep in mind, in this industry, if you make a solid commitment, everything's going to start dropping off, right, sooner or later, and you're going to reposition your assets, as far as your production team. However, if you do it correctly, you can get a good 20 years out of this. EverQuest celebrated 20 years. There's a bunch of MMOs celebrating 20 years now in the industry, and players are still playing it. Is it as popular now as it was? No. But those are that's retention. That is, a good way to keep your company stable, right? So you have a stable foundation with the retained consumer. Moving forward, when you're introducing new product line, this is why you want to be in the good graces of the players. And I feel that this was handled very well between the community managers and the higher ups within the ESO, team, as far as development. So my hat goes off to Rich. By the way, you can see his tattoo there. He finally got his tattoo like he said he was going to. And, I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty happy. Let me go ahead. I'm going to minimize this really quick. We'll see if there's any comments. Irish, if they pull off even half of this stuff, it'll be a world difference. Right. Absolutely, it'll be a world difference. It's going to be. It will be. And that's exactly what it should have been. I understand more than most how hectic a schedule can be for a company. I'm still a little disappointed with Elsewhere with the fights. There was a lot of cookie cut scenarios for these dragon encounters. Really disappointed me, man. Really disappointed me. I can't blame the dev team. They're under a lot of hectic work schedule to get these out in the times that it needs to be, when it's required to be published. However, it's because they did this, you can see the shortcuts. You can see when you see every dragon fight have a stationary dragon with just a slight difference of animation in its mechanics, and it's just the color difference. It's like, that's piss poor to me, man. That is very, very, very. If anything, you don't want. That's your highlight. That is the moment that players are wanting the experience when they're in front of this giant beast. If you need to cut corners, you don't cut it right there. That's where you don't want to cut the corners, because somebody like me, I'll call it. I will call it out, and I will make you regret, cutting those corners. With that being said, though, overall, they've done a tremendous job with managing the lore in this MMO. And I know a lot of people could scrutinize it and kind of tear holes at it, but we got to keep in mind that the Elder Scrolls universe, there are these weird, time dilations that occur in the Elder Scrolls universe, which makes things malleable, right? We got some leadway, some flex spots in there that the devs can play with, and we can accept it because of that lore, that the lore that's already been established. Like the Numidian, the two different versions of what happened with the Numidian and all this. And I feel like this is where this game does shine. There are some things that could be improved on. Everything could be. I still really think it's funny that a lot of people flogged me when I called this out months ago, and we had certain content creators saying, "Oh no, it's this or that or your end, and you need to check this." No. That's not the issue. It's not. It never was. Does it have some impact? Yes, but overall, there was a lot of shortcuts that cost them in the long run. Elsewhere should have banked them more. It's already on sale. And people are like, because it's QuakeCon. Bullshit. I don't give a shit what part of it is. We're putting it on sale because of QuakeCon. That's why it's on sale. No, shut up, man. It's a month out, man. It's like a month out and it's already on sale. Shut up. No company wants to lose money. If it had it sold what was anticipated, it would not have gone on sale. It's going on sale to push sales is why. That's why. It's why it's on sale. All right? Do not fucking kid yourselves, boys and girls. So, I think there's going to be a lot of prominent things, though, to look forward to if everything gets resolved. Does it have to be perfect? No. But at the same time, I agree with Matt 100%. you have to move precariously. You be careful, and yet you still have to. And I like Rich's response. We're going to keep, this type of performance maintenance and upgrading somewhat consistent moving forward. And you need to. And I really like that. I like the fact that these two are here, and it's a confirmation of that. And hopefully everything starts working better with their next DLC update. And hopefully, you will still have to re-download the game, but I'll be honest with you, I'll re-download it 10 times if we get a better performance out of the game. It'll be totally worth it. So with that being said, I'm going to let you guys go. Once again, I want to thank you, Irish Mage, for stopping in. If you guys don't know who he is, go check him out. He's a really great content creator. I love his videos. Some of them are just really, informational as far as what he's showing you. And other ones are just pure entertainment. I love some of his music videos that he does, his little collaboration videos, like how he'll cut out scenes and then make like a little soundtrack to the back of it. It's pretty cool stuff, so please go check him out. Anyways, once again, I'm Mr. Craven. This is Mystics MMOs. As always, thank you guys. Have a nice day.